excellent specimen, this Autobot known as Ultra Magnus.
What you are about to see is a first.
A first indeed. I had so much fun lending Lionel Stander's voice to Cup again. I just knew when it came time to do G1 Ultra Magnus, it had to be Robert Stack providing the quips.
Which has never been seen before by the American public.
So enjoy this, not only review of the original 1986 version of Magnus, but also a few more minutes of Robert Stack providing the voice.
Fact, fantasy, and history have come together to tease the imagination.
One of the most humble Autobots, Magnus probably thinks he doesn't deserve a spotlight being shined solely on himself.
I'm just a soldier. I'm not worthy.
Oh yes you are. So says Anthony DeLeon, who made this his Patreon special missions request.
This story was filmed with the complete cooperation of the Belgian Air Force and the Gendarmerie.
What the hey is that?
A national law enforcement agency.
Alright, well onto the spotlight of G1 Ultra Magnus.
Before we start, I'd like to say something.
Sure, go ahead.
The greatest voice of all time, of course, is Orson Welles.
Hey man, I can't say I can argue with that.
Excellent.
But if Orson was number 1, then Robert Stack had to be number 4, right behind Dr. Peter Weller.
Thank you.
And James Earl Jones Bay.
A voice that inhabits time.
As I did in the Cup video, here's just a quick recap of Robert Stack's filmography prior to joining the world of the Transformers. Born in 1919, he made his on-screen debut in the 1939 film First Love as Ted Drake.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Drake.
I should have watched where I was going.
Oh, no, it's all my fault.
Having a good time?
And much like Lionel Stander, he still pretty much had his familiar deep voice, even at the young age of 20.
Drop your voice, you've got the part.
He appeared in several movies and TV shows, most notably 1959 series, The Untouchables.
The Untouchables.
Yep, that awesome Untouchables movie from 1987 starring Kevin Costner and Sean Connery.
He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago way.
It was a reboot of the Robert Stack series in which he played the main character of Elliot Ness, the man who brought down Al Capone.
Even an untouchable ain't puncture-proof, honey.
I appreciate the concern.
After appearing in 4 seasons of The Untouchables, one of the most serious shows ever made, he tried his hand at comedy in 1980 in Airplane as Captain Rex Kramer.
Donations to the Reverend Moon? Juice for Jesus? Read about Jehovah's Witness?
6 years later, Robert realized,
Now everyone's into animation.
when he lent his voice to Ultra Magnus in Transformers the movie. Okay, let's talk about Ultra Magnus.
A familiar story, yes, but this is no ordinary joke.
No, not at all. Ultra Magnus is one of my favorite Transformers characters.
Right. It's obvious you remember me.
No thanks to the movie though,
I was never happy as a child.
but I was, because luckily, my introduction to Magnus was a bit before the movie, in this awesome commercial.
The courageous Ultra Magnus is a born leader.
Honestly, I think I fell in love with this baby blue battler the moment I heard those heavenly chords singing his name. And I probably sang it myself countless times driving Ultra Magnus all around my house. The angelic-like choir singing his name, immediately followed by Prime himself telling us he was a born leader. Now that's smashing a character over in mere seconds. He was voiced by the legendary Jack Angel in the commercial, just as he was in the 3rd season of the Sunbow series.
We meet at last, Galvatron. Autobots, transform and mount up!
I wonder why Stack didn't do the commercials too.
It's a dumb question. Skip that.
Touchy subject. Okay, so there's also another commercial that provided a little song for him, because in the 80s, individual characters didn't just have personalized box or card art, they also had personalized theme songs.
When Ultra Magnus rolls into action, he takes on Decepticons.
Meet Ultra Magnus. He can transport 4 Autobots into battle, but once there, he transforms into my powerful Autobot commander.
It wasn't much, but these commercials were enough to get me hyped for Ultra Magnus before I ever even saw him on the shelves. And then when I did see him on the shelf at Toys R Us in 1986, I was lucky enough to get him. Thanks again, Mom. I'm glad I got to have many adventures with Magnus before I even saw him in the movie. I think it braced me for the death of Prime, because as much as I still loved Optimus, Magnus was a truck too, that could carry 4 cars instead of just one like Prime. Plus, he was Prime. The cab was a white recolor, and I had never been so happy to have a repaint, especially one that could combine with his trailer.
According to the legend, he carried only 3 tools: a hammer, a saw, and a T-square.
What? No, that's not at all what he came with. But he did come with quite a few accessories. Magnus himself is a recolor of the Japanese release of Powered Convoy, the 1984 Takara Diaclone repaint of Convoy, as Optimus is known in Japan. He included 2 small fists for his white cab when it wasn't attached to the trailer, a blaster that could be held in his smaller mode, 2 large fists for the combined giant mode that could hold the blaster if you turned it over and used the other handle, 2 trailer hitches for some reason.
A rational explanation is hardly necessary.
Okay, one was probably a spare in case you lost the first one, a piece of chest armor that looks like it can hold a Diaclone driver, 2 spring-loaded rocket launchers with 4 rockets, loaded with dangerous 80s spring-loaded action.
No, we can't do that. The risk of a flameout's too great.
I'm sure it'll be fine. He never fires them in the movie, but on the animated series, he can either fire the red rocket out at enemies, or the entire rocket launcher, I guess for added oomph. And the combined mode head, which could be plugged onto the smaller Optimus head. And the chrome customize are easy to do. Just put a piece of chrome tape over white Optimus's head so that you don't have empty white eyes when attaching the Ultra Magnus head. In car carrier mode, Ultra Magnus could carry up to 4 Autobots from the 84-85 line. He can also carry the 86 movie vehicles, but because they're a bit bigger than the previous releases, it gets even more crowded.
I know that right now things must look pretty rough up there.
No issues hauling 4 aerial bots though, which is more than the Autobot aircraft carrier broadside can say.
Oh. The smaller white Prime version never actually appears in the animated series, although he does pop up without the armor in some of the comics. The cab transforms exactly like Optimus Prime, and the trailer isn't all that difficult to transform either. The cab can be inserted into the suit, with the arms folded in.
Brace for impact!
For a 1986 Transformer, he's actually got some decent arm movement for being a brick. Great ratcheting joints, and a nice elbow bend and swivel. Plus sort of a wrist twist thanks to the removable fists. That's one thing he had over Rodimus Prime, more points of articulation in combined mode. In addition to the commercial and the awesomeness of the toy itself, there was the tech specs bio on the back of the box which added to the new lore. Wait, why is it so dark?
By using a computer to enhance the film's contrast, the triangular shape becomes clearly visible.
Great, thanks.
That remarkable image is currently being analyzed by scientists in Belgium.
That's interesting. Function, City Commander. Consistency is victory. Ultra Magnus is all soldier. Most comfortable when carrying out Optimus Prime's orders. Possesses magnificent fighting skills, courage, and a gift for battlefield improvisation. Uncomfortable in the mantle of leadership, but presents strong profile as a commander. Carries 2 missile launchers capable of hitting a target 30 miles away. Resolute, fair, and courageous beyond reproach. Ever ready to sacrifice himself for the good of men and mission.
We now return to the Transformers.
Okay, so I mentioned earlier that the movie didn't do the character of Magnus any favors. I love Transformers the movie. It's one of my favorites of all time. For decades, I didn't understand the negative reviews I'd read in papers and various movie review books calling it loud, obnoxious, and just a toy commercial. I think it's an amazing, inspiring movie filled with a great deal of heart, soul, forgiveness. Come on, if Prime can get over it, can't we all too?
Arise, Rodimus Prime.
Optimus.
Action, adventure, fun, friendship, loyalty, and the indomitable human, or Autobot, spirit. But all that did come at a price. Poor Ultra Magnus. He makes a fine entrance into the movie, rolling up to some Autobots to give them orders as city commander.
Springer, you and RC transform Autobot City.
Okay, that's one of the cool things he does in the movie. He likes to do a dramatic turn while saying something.
Autobots, prepare to board the shuttles. Decepticons!
But his first act in the movie is to literally be knocked down. Then for the remainder of the Battle of Autobot City, he's absent, fighting off-screen. He was set up to be the prince that was promised, the chosen one, the next Prime. And over again in the movie, he just drops the ball. Actually, I guess you could say he drops the Matrix. As the Matrix of leadership falls from the dying hand of Optimus Prime, Magnus hunches over to catch it, but it's Hot Rod's quick reflexes that are right there, both hands gently cradling the life essence of Optimus and all the great leaders before him. Not to mention Primus, we'd later learn. So he hands it over to the new leader and... what the hey is going on here? I never understood this animation. Is it not fitting right? It's such a weird, awkward moment during Prime's tearful demise. He gets a bright spot when he blasts Galvatron through Cyclonus while delivering one of the best digs in the movie.
And you'll die trying, just like Megatron.
But when two Autobots apparently perish during the space chase...
Cuff and Hot Rod just bought it!
I can't deal with that now.
He's a bit overwhelmed. Not exactly Prime's compassion.
Gamma waves in this sector of space create marginal navigation probabilities. However...
or patience. Although Perceptor does tend to drone on and on. He also doesn't have much of an issue poo-pooing a tender sweet moment after everyone just narrowly escaped certain death.
Come on, showtime's over. We've got work to do.
And then when he's cornered by Galvatron and his minions, he heroically protects his fellow Autobots, but then tries to open the Matrix.
Prime, you said the Matrix would light our darkest hour.
He fails to open it and is blown to bits by the sweeps. And once again, literally drops the Matrix right into Galvatron's hand. He's rebuilt by the Junkions.
Hi, George Chemo-Sabis, your smashed-up friends soon like brand new with 90-day warranty.
So you have to wonder what kind of slight flutters he's picked up from that experience. And then, he's not even on the corkscrew Quintesson ship that smashes through Unicron's eye. In fact, he's absent for the entire epic battle of Autobots, Decepticons, and Junkions fighting the Chaos Bringer. Fighting off-screen again during another one of the biggest battles of Transformers history. He loses his title as Autobot leader to Rodimus Prime, and he ends up just standing there in the group at the end of the movie, just one of the crowd. In addition to having his legs cut out from under him throughout the entire movie, serving as a red herring for the real hero of the movie, Hot Rod / Rodimus Prime, they also made him a potty mouth.
Never!
No, it's true. We all know it's Spike that drops the S-bomb earlier in the movie.
Oh, what are we gonna do now?
But it's Ultra Magnus who has the distinction of being the first Cybertronian to ever swear in English in animation, if you count what he said a swear word. Well, people used to anyways. The stuff people get away with saying these days on TV though. Anyways, when the Matrix won't open, Magnus drops the D-bomb.
Open. Damn it, open!
And another profanity-laced line for Magnus was recorded during the battle with Unicron, but didn't make it past the censors.
That's a goddamn waste of time.
Whew, that's some pretty saucy language for kids to be hearing back in '86, Magnus.
Let's just say, felt too much inside. Maybe you know the kind.
Yeah, a film set can be stressful.
So what do you say you and I just forget about everything except what we have to do now?
Good idea.
Let's try to salvage this thing.
Hey, I think it's going pretty well so far.
You be the judge.
Magnus does get redeemed in Season 3 of the animated series, though, voiced by Jack Angel.
I'll believe that when I see it.
He gets into a Donnybrook with Cyclonus. And he also gets to have a few Prime-like moments of heroism, saving the entire planet of Cybertron by himself.
I'm gonna make sure this asteroid never reaches Cybertron.
Okay, with a little help from Skylinks.
The future of Cybertron is up to us.
But Magnus is certainly more humble about it. He also serves as the calming voice of reason for the new leader, Rodimus.
Didn't you want to say something about concord and tranquility in the galaxy? Give me a break.
acting as almost a mentor, even though he was only leader for about an hour.
But you're doing a wonderful job. Trust yourself more, and in time you'll realize you're every bit as good as Optimus Prime ever was.
Offering guidance and encouragement to the young, hot-headed leader.
Now I know I've got what it takes to command the Autobots.
Sometimes it just takes a while to realize what you've got to offer others.
And if you want some more awesome Magnus, you have got to check out Target 2006, the Simon Furman penned introduction of Magnus into the Marvel Transformers UK comic. More on that when I do the history of Ultra Magnus through the decades. And I can't do a video about Robert Stack without mentioning the show that most people know him from. A year after he voiced Magnus in Transformers the movie, Robert Stack started the first of 14 seasons on the real-life crime and unexplained phenomena show, Unsolved Mysteries. And his mystery-solving prowess could be used as Magnus as well, such as trying to figure out what the heck this thing was, which was included with Silverbolt, with the help of his fellow detective Nightbeat.
Join me. Perhaps you may be able to help solve a mystery.
Maybe he can solve the mystery of why we've never seen Ultra Magnus in any of the live-action movies.
Police theorize several possible scenarios of what happened.
Sorry, we're out of time. Thanks again, Anthony, for this Ultra request. Glad to finally get around to playing with one of my childhood favorites. And thank you out there for watching. Hope you enjoyed these Magnus memories. Thank you to all the members of the Patreon tribe for joining. Also, thank you to the channel members for hitting the join button and proudly showcasing your custom channel emojis.
Say something. Anybody.
Yeah, by all means, add your Magnus memories in the comments. And to join the tribe, hit subscribe. Till all are one.
Till all are one.
See more turning. I love it.
All right, let's get out of here.
Roll out!
Join me next time. Perhaps you